How does a minor issue like a drunken brawl convert itself into a major issue which leads to clashes between two big communities? In the state of Manipur, what has happened now is a different type of a conflict in which we have come to see that a minor issue has led to the Home Department of the state to declare internet ban just as a preventive and a precautionary measure. Welcome students to Legacy IAS. Let us understand this issue which has come up with respect to the national level, also coming across as a conflict, also building upon the previous type of conflicts that was between the various tribes like Maiti and Kuki-Zo tribes. Now, understanding this, let us first understand what the title reads. Tension in Manipur's Ukhrul, how a drunken brawl triggered 3 days of arson and a district-wide internet ban. So on February 7th, what had happened that there was a burning of near about 40 houses in these villages of the district of Ukhrul. Ukhrul is a district in Manipur and it is inhabited by a number of tribes. Okay, if we say that it is dominated, if we can say that it is dominated by a certain population of tribes that are known by Tangkhul Naga. Okay, along with them, we also have the presence of Kuki-Zo tribes. Those are the two tribes that are particularly hill tribes as compared to the earlier types of conflicts that were between Maitis and the Kuki-Zo. Kuki-Zo were the ones that were hill tribes and Maitis were the ones that inhabited the valley, that is the Imphal Valley, right? Now let us understand why this issue has erupted. Now, understanding this through the map of Manipur, it helps us to understand which areas are dominated by which of the tribes. Okay, of course, a very small brawl or minor issue that was with respect to someone who has got drunk and has gone into altercations with someone else, how it could lead up to issue that can be there at the state level and also become a concern for the national issues, right? First, we have to understand how much of the population, how much of the tribal population with respect to various kinds of division resides within the state of Manipur. So first of all, if we see, Maiti is 53.3% and Naga 24.6%, Kuki is 15.6%. If we look, if we look at these parts, these are the parts, that is Tangkhul, these areas. This is the place where the conflict has taken place. Okay, now understanding this, that this is also the place where it is dominated by a tribe known as Tangkhul Naga. Okay, Tangkhul Naga. Okay, so basically understanding that these dominated means it is some place that is there with respect to these tribes being more in majority as compared to the Kuki-Zo. Okay, understand this, that this is not a hill versus valley type of a conflict that we used to hear in the 2023s where it started between Kuki-Zo and the Maitis, but this is a type of a conflict in which two hill tribes are involved. Okay, and their demands are different. Okay, it has, of course, this kind of a minor issue thrives from the history. Okay, there is history behind such kind of a dispute that has existed, and this minor issue that has erupted at this point of time, it is just an inkling, it draws from the past of such kind of relation between these tribes. Okay, now understanding this, who are the Tangkhul Nagas versus the Kuki-Zo? Okay, Tangkhul Nagas, they are residing within the state of Manipur, particularly in the district of Ukhrul. They are also spread over cross border with respect to Myanmar as well. And they believe, despite this kind of a distinction, despite this kind of a border division, they believe in the concept of one nation for their people. Okay, if we try to break this word, this is called in Maiti language, it is Tang Khul, that is village. Okay, so these are the tribes that are closely related to the Naga tribes, right? Also, we have Kuki-Zo. Kuki-Zo tribes are there. So you will find them, their presence are particularly in Nagaland, Assam, Manipur, and you could say that they are spread all over northeast except Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, and they are the one of the largest hill tribes that are found in the Ukhrul district. Now there was a clash between the two. Okay, and it is said drunken brawl, but this seems to be a very small type of an issue. Okay, why would the Home Department issue internet bans when there was such a minor issue? Okay, it is because it goes back into the past, as we have said before, and that is the issue of land dispute. Okay, land dispute is something that has been historically been at the cross points for these tribes. Okay, so let us understand what is the history with respect to these land disputes. Okay, first of all, it is the colonial legacy. Okay, colonial legacy from the British times. So with respect to the Britishers, there were no cadastral surveys done. Okay, the political governance of these hill tribes as well as the valley tribes, it was not something that was quite distinct in nature. These boundaries were not very distinct, and it was not something that was governed very effectively by the Britishers. Even after the Britishers left, the boundaries was something that was left to the community itself. It was not something that was privately owned. It was not something that was owned by the government, right? So under the first part, we have artificial boundaries that were under the British rule first, right? The second part, post independence, land becomes a political issue. Political issue because there were two warring tribes who were ascertaining that their land rights existed, and it is at the conflict with respect to the others, right? Nagas claimed that these were the lands that ancestrally belongs to them, and Kuki-Zo would say that these are the lands that they have always been present on, and these become a problem at the political level, right? Then comes the Naga political movement. Naga political movement comes with the aim of greater Nagaland. Okay, Tangkhul Naga are also closely related to the Naga tribes. They are part of these Naga tribes, and therefore the greater Nagaland, the idea of greater Nagaland, that is having these areas within the greater Nagaland part. Okay, having them with autonomy and ascertaining these kind of rights over those lands. Okay, this kind of a political movement created a fear in the minds of the Kuki-Zo tribes. Okay, so the Kuki-Zo tribes would say that such kind of political movement is going to decimate us. It is going to marginalize our land, and it is also going to create some kind of a political marginalization for us. And therefore, you will have in 1992 to 1997, you will have clashes between Kuki and Naga tribes. Okay, so these tribes go for a clash, and hundreds of villages, hundreds of people lose their lives within these 5 years due to these clashes. So this becomes a historical flashpoint. Okay, historical flashpoint. So what we see today is not something that is erupting from a minor issue, but it is erupting from the communities that have warred in the past, they have bled in the past, and they have fought for their land, for the title, and as well as the rights, and tried to remain politically active within their lands. So this is a fight that has been having its roots in the past itself, right? So thank you so much for watching this video.